Good evening, YouTube. It's been a long time since we've shared something new on our channel, so welcome. I am here to have some fun with you guys tonight and finish my holly earrings that I started several weeks ago. I'm utilizing our ESO beads. They are a two-hole bead. It's very similar to a super duo, but when you look at them from certain angles, you can see that they're almost as circular shaped as a lentil. So they're kind of like if a two-hole lentil in a super duo had a love child, I guess. And that's what the SO bead, ESO, has accomplished. But it gives projects a lot of dimension. There's a lot of things that you can substitute the ESO bead in for a super duo. So if you've got projects you've used super duos in the past, it'd be fun to play around with that. I have definitely done that. And this particular set of colors, along with like a couple dozen other colors, I believe, are available through our website at beadstoliveby.com. So I'm going to chit chat with you guys for a few before I dive into the project. And I will admit that I made this several weeks ago and I intend to do some things a little differently than the first time. And I did not get a chance to play around with the recreation ahead of the tutorial. So you guys are going to get to watch me kind of muddle through that a little bit. But at least my manicure is festively matched to the project tonight. We've got that much, right? I don't know. So it's December 20th in Michigan, 2022, and there is a lot of bad weather headed our way. So we're trying to prepare ourselves for that. And that's part of the reason I didn't get to play anymore with this project ahead of the video because I was opening up the store for a little extra time today so that our customers who are local would have a chance to shop since the holiday is this weekend and will be closed a little earlier than normal. So I figured I'd load some things on the front end of the week and hope that people got a chance to get in before the snow flies, because they're forecasting anywhere from 8 to 17 inches over like 2.5 days or some craziness. Thursday night through Saturday can be really dicey. And of course, Saturday is Christmas Eve and our families celebrate Christmas. So we usually have some gatherings and it's going to be kind of a bummer if it does not happen. But, you know, we'll just push it back a little bit. That's sometimes how the cookie crumbles. So I think I'm going to start off with a yard of thread because you're going to make these 3 round components separately, the berries with the red, and then you're going to want to tie those off and connect them with like longer tails. So I'm going to start off with 1 yard of thread and I'll tell you how far I get with that before I like start a new piece. And I'm hoping my needle holds up because it's a little, I was gonna show you guys how bent it is right now. You can't, you can kind of tell when I turn it a little bit there. So here's your supply list. I think I've got everything on there now. I started talking about the ESO beads and realized that, oh, that was fun. I did not remember to include those on the supply list. So if you saw me touching the screen for a few minutes, that was what was happening there. Full transparency at Beads to Live By. I have no shame in my game. I am not perfect, and I do not pretend to be. So 1 yard of thread. I'm using the 10-pound Wildfire. I think a 10-pound Fireline would work just fine, but the Wildfire comes in different colors, and because you're working with some green beads, And some red beads, they both have green and red threads. So I don't carry the red. We don't come across a lot of uses for it. But in this case, you could easily make a couple of your holly berries with the red and then switch off to the green if you wanted to for your little leafy branches. My intentions for these are to make a pair of like kind of throwback earrings. If you go into like vintage or antique stores, they've got like the ones that are like clip-ons that kind of sit real big on your ears, and that's kind of what this makes me think of. But it'd make a really cute necklace component. You could make it so that it's symmetrical like so, or you could like hang it kind of off center, which is what I would be more inclined to do. And it would make a sweet little, like not a super big pendant. And then you also could do a bracelet with it by attaching it so that it lays. And that was kind of my original intention with this before I realized how much fun the earrings would be. I've got an extra larger bead at the end of that branch and then one on the other side of that berry. And that would allow it to lay in a straight line as a, sorry, my camera froze up for a second there. So that would allow it to lay in a straight line as a bracelet, but then still give you that off-center, there we go, give you the off-center look or asymmetrical look, sorry, with the design like layout. So I think that this would be, oh gosh, the freezing up is going to drive me crazy. I think that this would be a very versatile component. Oh, that's a cute look on my face. And allow you to do a lot of different things with it. And that's going to be one of my favorite things about the project. Anytime you can make more than one piece of jewelry, it's like a good thing. So, whew. Let's see. Let me see if I can get rid of all these other apps that are open right now that are causing my camera to not want to connect to this. Okay, let's see here. Oh, sorry guys. Just having a little technical difficulties here. There we go. All right. Okay, we're back. So, the Art of Thread, we've got our supplies up here, and then just give me a minute if you make a comment live, and I will keep an eye on the notes there. But I gotta get my ESO beads out. I've got all the other seed beads on the table. So this is my one of my favorite styles of ear wires, those lever back. They're pretty nice for keeping stuff on your ears. All right. And the way we sell the ESO beads, it's like a big bag. I think it's what is it, 25 gram? Yeah, 25 grams worth of them. So the prices are reflective of the quantity that you're getting. They're, you know, a good chunk of beads. So this kind of a littler project, you'll have a lot to like, you know, work with like extras. But, you know, if you're going to do some sets for like gifts, and obviously this is kind of late in the game. So for 2022 holidays, it might be a little bit, you know, late to try to churn something out, but maybe for 2023, you could work ahead. And this video is available at any point. So that's always helpful. So you're going to start with your red, and you're going to want to do a total of 6 beads. When you're working with a 2-hole bead, if you're newer to this, you're just going to be stringing through one hole. And it doesn't matter which one with these because they are symmetrical or there's no top or bottom, so you don't have to worry about that part. And just gotta get them down. So my needle, this is my tail end of my thread. The needle's all the way at the other end of the thread. So you are just going to take that little tail and bring it around through the loop and make an overhand knot with 6 of those ESO beads. And then you want to tie it relatively tight and get all the beads to sit on the outside of the loop. There we go. And then you're going to do the same thing one more time. Bring that tail around and through your loop as you create that. And then double overhand knot. You really want those guys to sit in a little cluster. So it's kind of insisting on sitting at a really silly angle because that one bead keeps flipping, but there we go. A really easy circular pattern to create. And then this is where you'll see a little bit of thread if you're using the green for this part. But that's what I was trying to say earlier, is that like the black color or the smoke of the fire line might stand out a little bit more than the wildfire. So you see how my thread is coming out of the center, going that direction, and then I'm bringing my needle back the opposite direction through. So like your thread will sit just along the side a little bit of that one bead. That's the only spot. And then this tail thread will eventually get detached once we have a little bit more to hang on to. So I'm using what is called a persimmon color. It's not like a really intensely red shade of, like, it's almost more of a coral, especially when you look at it by itself. But it's such a nice accent with this set of beads. And I didn't like an opaque red, you're gonna really have to be careful and match. So I've got 2 of those on there. I'm gonna go through the next opening. It's the next bead in my ring there, coming out of the one, going through the next one. And that's how you want those beads to lay. You're gonna do that all the way around. But I just could not handle the idea of trying to match up a red. We have some really pretty galvanized Duracoat colors on the website as well. So that's something else that you would maybe want to consider for this project. But I just advise against trying to use like an opaque flat red, not matte, but flat. Having some extra finishes going on with your beads really helps it to kind of like blend in, like the seed beads. The more that's going on, the more it's going to like be easy to blend it into whatever you're using it with. Oh, I've moved my office around a little bit. I'm sure you can tell, like, got a different background because all my picture walls behind me. So I'm sitting a little awkwardly because I'm kind of straddling a desk leg to be able to sit like this, but I'll figure it out. I moved some things around for like our holiday celebrations and I kind of like the new setup, but the new layout, I think I'm going to have to flip the desk around again. So we'll see. Work in progress. So this is what you're going for. I'll show you the side without the thread across it. Nothing crazy. And with other components, you're going to leave your thread hanging off of them, but like you'll have 3 of these total for the first one. I would just go ahead and reinforce through some of these beads, and then we're going to tie some knots and trim this thread because I've still got a lot of thread left. These little components do not take up much. So the way we tie knots in this family is we go underneath of our threads between the beads there with our needle. And then when you pull, you're going to create this loop And then you're going to go through the loop with your needle. And then when you pull all that down, it's going to try to give you a backdrop there to see what I'm doing, but that knot is now between those beads. I'm going to do one more in the same place. So thread, needle under the thread, create the loop, go through the loop, and then make sure your thread stays in between those same beads, because otherwise you're going to have a loop of thread and a knot on the outside of some of your beads. And then I always pull my needle away from my knot so that I'm cutting my thread at a different point. So, I mean, you could make endless amounts of these and do all sorts of fun things with them. Cute little rosettes. It's going to make a great other kinds of flowers in the spring, and we have some fun springy colors. And I'm going to trim all of those threads because remember, you made a knot with your inner threads, so you don't have to worry about that being too weak to stand up to the wear and tear of an earring, especially. The earrings are always a safe bet. You're going to have an easy time with keeping those safe from any, peril. Got some delicious, what is this? Mango passion fruit tea, but it kind of cooled down quickly. I like a nice hot cup of tea. I don't know how you guys feel about hot liquids, but like borderline scalding is really my preference. I'm a bit of a weirdo. So I'm just stringing on, we're going to make one more of these components before we move on to any other steps. 6 of those ESO beads in the red. And if you're doing other flowers and you're playing around, then whatever your floral color is. And then we're doing the overhand knot and doing a second one in the same location before we do anything else to make sure our beads are sitting in that little rosette shape. And then through at least one of the beads, that area is going to be really hard to dig through. So my preference is not to go through very many beads, but you could go all the way back around the circle again if you wanted to be extra careful and safe. And then you're going to come out of that lower hole that's already got the thread through it, and you're going to go the opposite direction through the same bead but the top hole. So your thread's going to lay along the side of your ESO bead. That's the plan. And I'm just going to get rid of this tail now because I can tell it's going to just irritate me. Got little thread tails laying all over my counter now. Okay, counter desk, whatever this is. So I always flip, so I'm working away from myself on camera, at least. That's a thing. And we're doing 2 size 11 seed beads, coordinating with our floral color in the direction that our thread is going. So wherever your thread's coming out of, then you move to the next bead closest to that exit of your thread. Well, I don't know what was going on with my connectivity issues earlier, but it seems to have resolved itself. Of course, I probably just jinxed my situation here. Well, I hope, since it doesn't seem like I've got a lot of live viewers tonight, which does not surprise me because I had to change the time and I haven't been on YouTube a lot lately, that I hope that you are enjoying the replay as you're watching it. And I hope maybe you get a chance to play around with something like this. Maybe you get a little downtime over part of the holiday season. Oh, see, I did jinx myself. That is so frustrating. Okay. Hopefully I can set my camera to turn the right direction. So you're not just staring at my ceiling. In the future, hopefully I can make that default to that. Okay, there we go. Don't know why it would keep disconnecting, but sorry guys. I got a new phone like just 2 weeks ago, and I've been having a little bit of trouble trying to figure out how to use it with StreamYard, which is the app that I use to do these videos. So here I'm coming out of some of my seed beads. I've gone through a couple of those and a couple of the ESO beads. So if you look at my original component, or my first one rather, either way, I've just ladder stitched those sets of seed beads together. So I'll show you what I mean is you're just going to take your flowers and you're going to line them up so that you're able to pair up how you're, see how those are going. So I'm coming out over here. I'm going to go through on this side. The key to knowing what direction you need to go through your beads is always to set your components or your beads where they're going to lay in your project next to each other. I'm convinced. And then you're going to go back through the one you started in. So I'm coming out over here, going through over there. I feel like I need one ring light right on top of my camera or something, on top of my phone. I feel like that would really help. So that is all there is to connecting these. You will make a third one and connect here and here, like on those two. And there's a still shot of this on the beginning of the video once you are able to watch the replay on YouTube. So that part is really easy. And the part that I honestly am trying to remember a little bit better how I did it is the connection of our leaf parts, which I will show you. I know I used a size 8 and I'm using the same color as the size 11 that I was using in the persimmon, but you could easily use a green in your 8 that goes with, this is an olivine colored pastel finish in the ESO bead. And then in your red, it's a metal red is the name on our website. So I'm coming out of one of my sets. I'm going to add that size 8 and then I'm going to go through the other set. That's really hard. There we go. That's easier to see there. So that's how that's going to look when you've got it in place. And then I'm going to come back through, maybe, nope. The angle I'm trying to do this at is weird. There we go. Coming back through those 2 beads again. And then I'm pretty positive I want to exit. The reason this 8 is kind of integral with regards to adding your leaves is because if you tried to add your little leaf branches right next to the berries, I mean, they already are a little bit tight in there, but it would be like impossible to squeeze them in. So that's part of that reason for doing it that way. So it looks like, now I'm switching over to a gold. This is a champagne Duracoat galvanized seed bead. I'm going to move my red beads out of the way here. I've got 1 of my seed beads and 2 of my ESO beads and then 1 more seed bead. And I'm coming out of one side of my size 8 and I'm going to go through the other side. So you're making like a circular path. This is like a very altered version of right angle weave, if we're being really technical, which I can be, but I don't want to throw people off by that. I would say if you've not gotten some experience with seed bead stitching or weaving, this wouldn't be the very first place I would start, but just a little bit of experience would be enough to get you to be comfortable for a project like this. Sorry, should have said that at the beginning of the video. That's the detriment of doing these things live. So once you've come out of your 8 again, you're going to go up through that first 11 that you added, going away from your berries or your flowers. And like you could even do a sweet little just like that and be done with it. I tend to like visualize holly branches as having like the longer leafy parts coming off of like a smaller berry cluster. So that's kind of why I went this route. The other thing that you could easily do is this gold could be a green or an olivine color. I like having gold accents on my jewelry, but that doesn't mean everybody does. So you could also use like a silver. So I've got 2 more size 11 in whatever color you're working with. Mine happens to be the gold, and I'm going through that first ESO bead that I added. So these beads serve to cover my thread, even though you're using the green to mask what is happening with the thread. I also don't want to like have it just laying across the outside of the beads and the leaf. And then I'm adding 2 of my ESO beads and going through the, throw the camera around there. Going through the other ESO beads. So this is how the thread path is laying, and then once you pull everything together, so your second set will like cluster inside of that first set. And then I am going to add 2 more size 11s, and you want to go through possibly more than 1 bead, but for sure that 11. And as soon as I get it in there, I'll hold my project up and get it focused so you guys can see that's where I'm headed. And the other thing about this is you could make your branch as like long or short as you want. I added 3 sets total. So I've got 1 more to go, which means you'll travel back up through your seed beads. I was coming out of the 8, and now I'm going through those first 3 11s on that side. Actually, a first 11, and then there was like a little bit in between there. And then coming out of that spot, we're going to add another, looks like 2 seed beads. This part's kind of, the we're learning as we go part at this point. We're trying to remember what we did anyways. I think you could probably get away with 3 at that place, and then I'm going through my ESO bead, but I also don't want it to be sloppy and like have my seed beads laying. And then 2 more ESO beads, like kind of in a puddle. So now we're going through like that. Look at that little holly branch and the way it's getting all put together. So now I've got 2 more size 11s, and we're going to go all the way down to these 3 here. Got to check myself. I got to look at the project, and I have to check myself on camera to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. And, throwing it around. Now, as you can see on the sample, on one end, I did the gold all the way up the side and added the extra 8. On the other end, I didn't go all the way up. And I think my preference is the gold lining the whole leaf. And even if you're using green, I think it's kind of, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You could go either direction. So from there, you always loop back through your size 8. I will say working through this project again after a while, the 10-pound thread, wildfire or otherwise, is crucial because if you use anything thinner, you're not going to have enough stability for this to like stand up to the shape. Like you want the shape to hold. So I'm just going through all these seed beads again because we're going to get up there and we're going to add a few more at the top. Looks like maybe just 2. So like you wait until you get all the way to the end of that row. And then we're going to add 2 more. I will say, as much as my camera on my phone's been giving me some problems in other ways, the battery life is sure nice. I don't know. I'm questioning whether 2 is going to cover my tracks here. I'm going to add 3 here. I'm worried that I'm going to have not enough. So the reason I put a size 8 on my leaf on one side, and really I think I would do it on both sides if I had to do it over, which I probably will, is for the sake of being able to connect it to other things, to add like your loop for earrings or, you know, an attached portion of something for a bracelet. So I think that 8 is just helpful there regardless. And I like bringing that red out to the end. I don't think that looks bad. Got to get the rest of this put together now. So once you've got that 8 on there, then we're gonna go through. I've got 3 more size 11s on there. I'm gonna go through as many 11s at a time on the way back down. So this is like the complete and utter, you know, project, like start to finish. That's really all you're doing. But to get back through your project to attach more components, once you get through that size 8 at the base of your leaf, you're gonna then go through some of the 11s from your like floral component in the original like berry pieces and apparently get stuck. And then all you would do is work over to, you know, these areas on either side of your berries are going to, your holly berries are going to, that'll be where you attach. So like what we just completed was like that part, those guys and that, and then we'll make one more and attach it there and create the other holly branch. So just for the sake of learning, I'm going to go ahead and attach the ear wire to this real quick because the video went pretty fast. I'll throw our website up there again. I don't know why I thought I needed more of those beads. I need more thread is what I need because I finished that component. You know, I was like, okay, I'm done, and cut a bunch of stuff off of it. But maybe I can, yeah, I think I'll attach the ear wire and then I can finish fixing up the rest of it where I left off with that one branch. Probably only need a couple of feet, not even. That'll just make me more comfortable to do this portion. Oh, and I need my needle. I hope you guys have fun with this technique. I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm getting the itch to make other flower colors now, but I've got a lot of other projects on my docket for the next few weeks. So I will try to save that for the spring. Somebody remind me, if you watch this in like March or April of 2023, say, hey, Cassandra, remember how you're going to do this with other flower colors? And I'll be like, oh, yes, I do remember that. Thank you. We actually, oh, don't want to move things around too much. we actually have these really cute little Czech glass flowers. I knew they were sitting behind me in a bunch of different colors and finishes. And they would be so cute, like stitched together with your own little beaded flowers. You saw it here. It's where I came up with the idea when you see me regurgitate it in the spring. So if you've never started a thread before and attached to like a project you already had worked on, it's really easy to do. I've got like 2 feet of thread on my needle and I am just going to sink in. It's a lot like when you're ending your thread and you're making those knots. We're going to go underneath of the beads, and because we don't have any, we're going to go all the way through. Okay, underneath the beads, pull your thread through, but stop short of pulling it out of the beads. And you're just going to take, oh goodness, okay. I'm going to take that tail and your needle ends of your thread and create a double overhand knot. And just make sure you're attaching to some place where your thread can easily go between the beads so that you don't have thread showing where it shouldn't. And we'll be reinforcing this and knotting it in other spots again. So like this is not just like that's all we do. That's all there is, folks. So this part I'm doing right now is just cosmetic. I'm just going to put my remaining beads on the side of the branch so that it mirrors the other sample that we just finished. And then after we do that, we'll connect an ear wire and have some festive earrings that I really would have liked to wear on Saturday because we had a little Christmas sweater party. It's kind of an ugly sweater party, but not exactly. We weren't going for like utter craziness. Okay, so I've got, yeah, you see how like the 3 gold beads on the end is like borderline too much, but really depends on your tension and a lot of things, the way you go about it. So my goal is I added this extra little bead over on that side, so that's where I'm going to attach my ear wire, and I need to get over there. So we're going to go down through. I really hope I've left enough space in these beads to get through them, down through that set of beads, and I might end up using my teeth. Sorry, guys. Should apologize to my future orthodontist or oral surgeon because probably wrecked my teeth with little moves like that. But okay, I don't know. This needle might be a little thick, or I might just have gone through these beads too many times to. Okay, if you guys saw me crack a tooth live on YouTube, I bet that would get some views. All right, so I was just moving in and out of my beads to get so that I was like going through the right beads in the right direction and able to move to where I'm gonna attach that ear wire. But man, I forgot how much I stitched through this before I finished it off because I probably thought I would never need to. Right, going off camera with the beads for just a second because I need to get it under my nose and figure out what's happening here. Can't fathom that going through the ESO bead would be harder than. Gotta find my pliers. Here we go. pliers would have avoided me having to use my teeth to pull things in and out of the project before, but oof, I really hope I don't break any beads. It feels like I might have already. Yikes. Or almost ripped the eye of the needle off. There's all sorts of fun things that can happen when you force your project to do things that it doesn't want to do. But this is good learning experience. I am going to go ahead and take that tail off my spot where I connected the thread. I think we're good there. Okay. But this is a little bit, my original intention was for this component was to create a bracelet. So I didn't think I'd be weaving through these beads again, which is very clear by the amount of thread that has subsequently happened here. But that's okay. We're gonna make it work. I skipped an ESO bead, and we're out by the edge, and this is, so we're going through that size 8. All I did for that spot where I added the extra beads is I came out of one of my sets of 2 seed beads along the edge of the flower, and then I just added an 11, 8, and 11. So for what I like to do with attachments of earrings, I like to use even amounts of seed beads because I need to create a spot for my earwear to rest. So I've got 6 size 11 seed beads. I don't think I can use any less than that. We'll see. If this looks really big, then we might try to use 4. And I'm just going back through the same direction I started from on that size 8. So you're creating a loop. Yeah, we'll try 4. I almost did. Then I was like, no, I don't want to have to take it out. I think I'm going to need 6. So we're going to go back through the 2 and take those off. Okay, so 4 size 11 seed beads coming out of one side of the 8. So I'm going to go through from the other side, but it's the same direction I started with. And yeah, I think I like a daintier attachment better. So to make sure this is secure, we're going to go through. You got to hold your tension tight in that spot and then go through all the beads again. So I have to cover it with my fingers because I'm holding those beads in place. And then I like to do 2 at a time because I am creating that like purposeful split at the top to ensure that my earwear has some place to go. I'm glad I got the pliers out because I need it to open up my earwear anyways. We're going to go through that 8 again. And then I'm probably going to try to go through a few of the 11s before I tie a knot, but we'll see if it's like even feasible at this point. We might not go through any beads after we tie the knot because, all right, under the thread, loop, through the loop, knot. And we want to do that twice. And part of why I was having so much trouble going through some of those other beads is it could be because that was where my knot was, but I just have a feeling because I was working to design this project with this piece, it probably has extra thread from extra thread paths and just not, this needle is gonna be, this is, I'm sure, a tulip needle, and I'm sure I don't wanna, I just chipped some of my bead. Okay, well, might not be noticeable from certain angles, so. Unlike usual where I like to move away from the knot location. We're just going to leave that there. But from this side, it doesn't look too bad. I'm really pleased with the general situation. And then we're going to take this type of ear wire, and you do want to ensure before you create your loop of your loop on your component that your ear wire opens, because if it doesn't open, you have to attach this loop directly to your ear wire. And then make sure and position it so that the chipped side of your bead is not facing the front. And we're just going to go through our loop of our seed beads. And this is pretty tight. I think I tend to use 15s with this particular style, but I think we're going to make it work. It might even be easier, this one, you know, even though it opens, it might be helpful for you to attach directly to your ear wire. Just depends on your comfort level, because there's a good chance I could have chipped my beads or popped a couple of 11s with my pliers just then. So all sorts of fun to be had. I'm going to flash that supply list one more time. You guys know where you can find. I've used colors here that all of these are listed on the website. So you've definitely got access to those ESO beads and the seed beads. I'm pretty sure we've got the wildfire listed right now. If it's showing out of stock, let me know, because that's definitely something we usually have fully stocked in the store, depending on the colors that are available when I place my orders. But so much fun, such a ridiculously cheesy little holiday piece, I think. And again, you could hang it a lot of different ways. You could do a lot of different things with it. So hopefully you guys have fun with that. I am going to do a video next week, at least one, because our in-person shopping is going to be closed and I'm going to be working on our accounting and inventory, but I'll have a little more flexibility with my time that way. So I'm hoping to fit in like 1 or 2 videos during the break between Christmas and New Year's. So if you are around your beads and have a little spare time, or just need a little bit of kind of time to recenter after family gatherings, whatever is happening with you, I hope you can join us. Have a great rest of your night, or whatever time of the day it is where you're rewatching this, and I really look forward to seeing your projects. I shouldn't just like end it like that, because we do have a Facebook group, speaking of sharing your projects, where if you are utilizing our beads or a project we've shared or a pattern or a class we've taught, basically as long as it has some sort of tie-in to our company, we love to see what you're working on, and we'd love for you to join us there. So that's Beads in Progress on Facebook. And oh, that's not there we go. Thank you for joining us. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.